Hello. Good part of the day you're watching this. Welcome back to the Ever-Expanded Universe. I'm your boastful host, Beebs. That's what my daughter calls me. This mic doesn't work, so that don't matter. Welcome back. Today, I've decided to answer questions again, because I don't know what this is going to be yet, but I will, eventually. Let me swallow. Hold on. Here we go. I've noticed a lot of comments of people really excited about the podcast, and they're like, can't wait, and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, and realizing that, yeah, you probably want to see me and Cam chit-chat, but Cam's not here. It's hard to get Cam here, and it's just me, and sometimes I don't know if you just want to hear me ramble, but I know that I can't figure out what this podcast is going to be unless I just do it. It ain't nobody here but me, so you gotta hear me ramble. You're probably already gone. If, however, you don't want to hear me ramble for the next 29 minutes, because that's when my camera will shut off and I'll just be done with it, I'll give you some content that you can go watch that I enjoy. That way you at least can leave with an idea of where you're gonna go. Okay? I forget what his name is. We'll just start this off by shouting people out. Going to the old tube. YouTube. These are just basically the people I watch on YouTube. See who it logs me in as. All these things. Okay, let's go. Gunnar TV. Gunnar TV. He's funny. He's like a commentary guy. I like him a lot. You can watch him. You can watch other videos of me with Cam, if that's what you want to see. Who else? I like Leon Lush. Also, I've noticed I'm just very big on commentary channels. Go watch my girlfriend. She's my wife now. I'm still not used to it. Go watch my girl wife, Maria Gloria. Iraq is good. Unspeakable is good. You could watch the Duderverse. There's one other video on here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I decided I was going to talk about, I got a comment the other day, and I'm not going to talk about this, but I will tell you what it was. Someone saying, I miss the old Brandon. And I have a lot to say about that, but I don't want to talk about that today. But tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you miss the old Brandon? Because I could do a whole episode on that. Because I don't understand that question, since it's a statement. And it just confuses me. So I don't know. You give me your ideas on that. But I did notice a lot of people asking about like my musical career. Like, what am I ever gonna go back to doing music? Britta text me. And I don't know. I might go back to doing music. But I kind of thought I would share my journey to music to here, because you kind of already know the YouTube story on. So I'll tell you about the music career, since I don't really talk about it. When I was 13, I lived in Alaska with my cousins. I lived in Juneau. And I'm going to my channel so I can get better references. I lived in Juneau, and my older cousin, he played guitar, and I was like, that's really cool. Him and his friends played guitar, and I thought that was super neat. And I was like, I also want to do that because everyone else is doing it. I'm a follower in that sense. I don't want to be left out. I'm very follow the crowd type of guy. And so I would play around on his guitar, not very well. I didn't really practice or anything. That sounds cool. I made a song. Check this out. I played all 6 strings at once. So I thought it was cool. I was into it. And we would always look at guitars and like, we're going to buy this guitar. And it was like $600, and I was 13, and there was no way I'm making $600 as a 13-year-old. So time passes. My sister ends up playing guitar as well. She actually started before my cousin, so I just took other people's guitars. At this point, I would just, let me, okay? When they weren't playing, I just grabbed it and I did my thing. That sounded awful. And so I did that for a couple years. Off and on, I was like, not enough to go buy my own. And maybe 14, 15, I decided, like, I want to do it. I can't keep playing my sister's guitar, and I don't live with my cousins anymore. And so my dad took me, we got a guitar, and I was like, this is cool. I want to, and I was playing, I was learning stuff. I loved like country at the time, and then I wanted to play metal. So I would just practice like a bunch of random stuff. And I was just playing for fun. It wasn't really like a career path. I didn't want to do it for a career. I don't know what, I wanted to be a basketball player, so I wanted to play in the NBA. Didn't grow past 5'6", and then realized I probably shouldn't. And then some friends turned me on to like different music. The music I listen to now, like really like technical guitar stuff, and I was like, wow, that's crazy cool. And I think there was one moment that like turned everything around to where I wanted to pursue music full time, and I still remember it. And it's a very spiteful reason, but I went with my sister because my sister had a couple friends who were in a band, and she was like, do you want to come listen to them practice? And I was like, yep, I love guitar, I want to see it. So I went to watch them practice, and they asked if I played, and I was like, yeah, I've been playing for like a year and a half, like 2 years, just picking around, I don't know stuff. And they're like, play us something. And at that point I was like, I wasn't nervous because I'm not like trying to prove myself. So I played something. It was very easy. It was just like picking chords, G chord, C chord, stuff like that. And I was 15, and then I got done, and they're like, oh yeah, real good. You could tell they were making fun of me pretty hard. And then in the other room, they went to the other room. Not one guy stayed with my sister and me, and then the other guys went in the room, and they were making fun of me, and we heard. And my sister, ooh, don't make her mad, but she got upset. She let them have it, and then she took me home, and I was embarrassed. I was like, that sucks. Like I know I'm not good, but it really hurt me. Like it was 16 years ago, and I still remember it like vividly. So I was really embarrassed, and at that point I was like, and I remember the guy who did it, like I remember his name, and I was like, my goal is to be so good that I just blow this guy out of the water. And so when I turned 16, I decided to just go full force and just practice. So I've mentioned this part a bunch, where I asked my mom if she could put me in like homeschool so I could practice more. And my mom's all for it. And we ended up doing this homeschool where we had packets. So however fast you get those done, your schoolwork is done for the day. So you get it done in an hour, you're done. You take 8 hours, it takes 8 hours. But I would do like 5-6 days at a time in one day. Just knock it out and then practice. At that point, when I was 16, I was practicing. It was a lot, but it wasn't my peak. But it was, I think I was able to do 6 to 8 hours a day. And that was just, I'm sitting down and I'm practicing. That's all I was doing, was practicing. Practicing different parts, like, I won't go into the details, but from like different styles on the guitar to like music theory and stuff like that. And learning how to read music and stuff. So I practiced quite a bit. And I did that for a couple years, and I got really good really fast, and started playing in like small bands around town. We didn't ever play shows or anything like that. We just played in a warehouse that my dad owned. So we just practiced all the time, but we never played shows. And I didn't really have friends other than the two people I played music with, or a girlfriend or anything like that. I didn't go out with family. I decided to, I think around 17, 18-ish, probably around 17, I decided I'm going to do this full time. I want to be a musician. I want to be a famous guitar player. I want to be the best in the world. That's my mindset for everything. I want to be the best in the world. I don't know what kind of childhood trauma I had to where I want to be the best at everything. But that was my goal. I want to be the best. And so I really buckled down, and I graduated early. I cheated. I'm not hiding anything. I technically see, I technically have a 10th or 11th grade education. But I do a lot of studying outside of a school setting, so I don't think I'm dumb. But I did cheat just to get it over with, and my mom was like, she tried to get us to do it, and we wouldn't, me and my sister, so we did what I had to do. I got it done. I'm done with school, 17, and at that point, I didn't have anything going on. We moved to Clarksville, which is nothing. There's nothing there. Clarksville, Arkansas is nothing. And that's where I grew up for the most part and went to school and stuff like that. So I had friends around. And I devoted myself to practicing 16 hours a day. And that sounds like crazy. A lot of people work that much, but I would wake up at 4. So set my alarm for 3:50, wake up at 4 a.m. and just get started. Like, I'd fall asleep in the chair a lot of times just practicing stuff early on in the morning. And I would play, and I only took breaks to eat or to go to the bathroom, shower, stuff like that. And then there was a couple shows that I liked that I would watch throughout the week. That was back when like streaming wasn't that big of a deal. And so I would practice 16 hours a day, and I was getting really good. And I got an opportunity to move back to Alaska with my cousins, the one who played guitar. Because at that point I didn't have a job, I didn't have friends, I wasn't going out for years. I was just, at this point I'm 19, and I got, an offer to go to Alaska. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I've been practicing. I'm ready to go out and like do my thing and play and be in bands and stuff like that, like pursue it. Because my dream was to go to Berklee College of Music, which is in Boston, Massachusetts. But I was, that's just who I am as a person. I'm too nervous, and I knew I couldn't do it. Like that sounds real negative. I probably could have, but I knew at that point I'd never been out of the house by myself. I had, but not like I didn't travel or stuff like that. And to fly to Boston and perform in front of judges to say you're good enough for this school, this prestigious guitar music school, and that freaked me out, and I just never applied. Maybe because early on I got made fun of so bad for my playing. I hate to be judged, and that will be a through line throughout my musical life, I guess. So I'm in Alaska. I'm 19. I get a couple opportunities. Like there's people in the church that my uncle was a part of. He was high up in that church, so he knew everybody. And one guy was, making a CD, and he knew that I played guitar, and he was like, "You're really good. Will you do like lead guitar on my album?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I practiced, and I recorded all the lead parts for his album, and it was fun. I think he ended up deleting it, which hurt my ego. The whole album, not just my parts, but that happened. And then I ended up meeting John Farmer, who I still talk to today. He still makes music. He's one of those people who are just like made for music. He's super good. And he was a guitar player and frontman, lead scream singer, stuff like that. And he was like, let's do something. Let's make a band. And I was like, cool. So we ended up, practicing, making a couple songs. We found a guitar player, and we found a drummer, found a bass player, and we started playing shows, and quite frequently. And I was getting over that stage fright, and I was getting really good. And I was like, this is what I want to do. The energy of being on stage and people just like really enjoying your craft. I loved it. And like you learn a lot, and I loved it, and I wanted to do that full time, and I wanted to do it on a bigger scale. So I was working full time at this point, and I had a girlfriend in Alaska. This was before I met Gloria. A couple years, 2-3 years before I met Gloria, and I'm playing, and I get opportunities to play in church and stuff like that. And I do, and the girl I was dating at the time was a singer, and her dad was like pastoring a church, so I would play guitar with her at her dad's church. So I was playing and doing a lot of stuff, and I loved it. And eventually, you know, we got the opportunity in our band to sign with this label and make an album. And so we started to do that. We got signed. We're playing shows. We would go to Anchorage and, you know, anywhere shows they'd let us play in, we go play. And we started recording. We recorded a single. We never ended up getting to the main, you know, making a full-length album, which sucks. But we had the songs ready. We just never... the band kind of broke up in the sense of our guitar player, who I love him to death and we still talk. He wanted to be a teacher, and he is. He's a teacher right now, and he loves it. And Andrew Slagle, I don't know if he's going to watch this, but he watches the other videos. And our drummer wanted to be a cop, and I was like, I get it. Like, if you this is something you got to want 100% of yourself, because it's demanding, it's hard, and it's rough, and it's not something you can break into easily. But I had the mindset already, because I wanted to do content to push, you know, the band name, and it just ended up going to content. But I eventually moved out of Alaska because the frontman, John, decided to move to Nashville. And I'm cutting a lot out, but we played like Battle of the Bands, and we would win and get all these opportunities. And then we broke up, and then he moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and I was like, I'm following you, man. And I moved to Nashville, Tennessee with him, and I moved in with him and his new wife at the time. And a small apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. I was sleeping on the couch, and I was there for 3 days and left. It was just stuff that I expected would happen wasn't happening, and just, you know, things that I thought I was guaranteed, I wasn't. So I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't. And I think I was 21, probably 21 at the time, turning 22. And so I moved back home. I drive back home through the worst storm of my life, a 7-hour drive. It took me 25 hours to get home. It was awful. And I've told that story 1,000 times. But on the drive home, I realized that I love music, but I'm kind of getting this idea that I want to do it just for me and not for others. Like, I don't want to perform. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not feeling it. I want to do it for me. Like, I love music for me, and I play all the time for me, and I don't want to share it. Like, it just started becoming that after years of, you know, practicing my butt off and sacrificing friends and family and everything just to get as good as I was. And I moved back in with my mom, and I start to do a solo acoustic career, where kind of like if you watch the movie August Rush, where they do the percussion on the guitar and they're slapping. They do that on TikTok now. Andy McKee. That is what I wanted to do, and so I did that. I ended up getting signed, doing solo acoustic work. I made an album. I made a complete album by myself. John, the lead singer, guitar player, he was the one who recorded it for me. And I did that, made an album. I played shows all around. Anywhere coffee shops would have me, I would play. Every week, I would just go out and I would play just to get experience. And I was making YouTube videos at the time. That's when I started doing the channel I have now. I'm looking at it. The I'm Brandon Ferris main channel was called Brandon Ferris Vlog. And the idea of the main channel, which I deleted and privated those videos already, was to promote the music. So I would do vlogs and like promote my album and do this, and I do funny sketches, and I would do guitar covers and all my music. I would upload it, and it's still there. Like, I have a music channel that everything's on there. That's where I uploaded the music. All the vloggy stuff went on the main channel. But the Mr. Full Score 1, it might be hard to find on YouTube, is my music channel. All my music is there. And I haven't taken it down. I took all the vlogs down. But what I noticed was I was like teaching, I would make educational stuff, and then I noticed during my covers when I was like playing other people's songs and stuff for YouTube, I would incorporate like funny sketches. So like, this is funny and it adds a little something, and I just wanted to do it, so I did it. And it got to the point where I was like, I'd rather do the sketches than do the music. And I still have like crippling anxiety playing on stage, and I was like, I don't know if this is made for me. And so it wasn't all at once. So it was kind of like this, like music, and we'll put a sketch in there. And then we keep going, and I'm adding more sketches until eventually, like, here's a sketch idea. Let's do that, that's funny. And then I upload a guitar video. And then sketch, video, and now I'm not doing music. That's kind of how it went, because I still had the same mindset, same idea that I didn't want to do music for other people. I wanted to do it for me. And I was enjoying making comedy because that's where my heart is. I was doing comedy way before music. I just fell into music and fell in love with it and decided that's my path. And I moved back to Alaska. And at this point, I'm not doing anything. I did sketches and sometimes I would film, but I stopped altogether. And I worked full-time in Alaska. That's where I met Gloria. And she started her YouTube channel then in Alaska when we met. She was like, I'm thinking of doing YouTube. And I was like, you should. You're hilarious. I think you'd be great. And that's when she started. And I was like, man, I eventually want to get back into it. I was still like, I want to do music, but I want it to be like theatrical, like a live show that incorporates comedy. And like, I was still back and forth. And eventually I moved back when Gloria left for Maryland. I moved back with my mom. That's a through line of my life. Moved back in with my mother. Moved back in with my mom. I was 24 and I was still doing music. I would upload, songs that I wrote and stuff like that, but I'd also do Ginger sketches. That's when I came up with Ginger. And, not the vlogs, but like the rants. That's how I came up with those. Those were at the same time. And then it eventually I found Google Translate. And then it was, this is all I want to do. And I did that, and music fell by the wayside. And every once in a while I upload something with music, but I don't play for other people. I don't practice. I don't ever practice. The way I work mentally is like when I'm on something, that's what I'm doing. If I'm on YouTube, that's all I'm gonna focus on, and still swatting gnats. And that's what I was doing. I wanted to be the best YouTuber in the world. That's what I want to do, YouTube. And I started doing videos, and it became inconsistent because I moved and moved to Sacramento when I finally was like, I'm following Gloria. And I moved here to Sacramento, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have friends, family. I had Gloria, but we weren't barely friends. Like at that point, we were close friends, but not like, hey, come stay with me and my family. It was like, I'm glad you're here, but you have to find your own way. So I lived in hotel rooms and got a full-time job, did the yard house thing, and the rest is history. I took a massive gap of not doing YouTube and went through like a pretty bad depression and slump. And I'm here now, not doing music. To circle back to the original question, I know this might be boring, and I know it is, but I know I have to do these in order to find out what this podcast will become. And I'll bring Cam on, I'll bring Gloria on, and Angel, and it'll be more than this, and I appreciate if you're watching this far, but I do want to get like stuff like this out and like be able to just vent somewhere that's not relying on me blowing stuff up or being funny the entire time. So will I go back to pursuing music? I don't know. I can't for certain say no. If something crazy happens and fall out of love with music or out of love with doing YouTube, which I have a hard time believing. I'm in it. Like, I love it. And regardless of, the hate, the slumps, you're trying to be someone else, you're really falling off, stuff like that, like, to push past and still want to perform, I love it. And I wouldn't want to do anything else. And I think even when this starts to die down, I'll be that person I'm still here, and you may come watch if you want, but I do it for me, and I love it because I love it, and I'm not doing it for you. And that's kind of where you have to get, I think. And as of now, I love YouTube. I love making videos. I love doing this. I love streaming. I love talking content, making content, collabing. I love it all. Everything with content, comedy, I love it. With music, it could come back. I may start doing more music on my music channel. If Jameson or Autumn, my children, get into music, I would love to nurture that and kind of give them a stepping stone by saying, I have all this knowledge that I would love to give you so you don't have to go through the stuff I did to learn, and kind of help them out in their ventures. But long answer, I don't know. I might. Could be not. But I do like to find ways to incorporate music in my videos. There's quite a bit of videos where I'm just either I'm playing piano or I'm rapping or I'll play guitar. But I love it. Like, I love incorporating music into comedy. And I always said, if I could find a way to combine the two in a way that I was good at, I would do it. But comedy guitar content, I tried it and it wasn't really for me, and it didn't really pop off. And I feel like I flourish with reacting to things, which is why a lot of my channel is, I have this, react to it. So, I don't know. If you notice, I have chalk all over me. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did a video with chalk, which I'm not a raging cokehead with coke in my hair. But I have a bunch of topics that I would like to talk about. I love the idea of keeping the podcast a little short if it's just me, and keeping it one or two topics, instead of like, where was that time that he talked about that one thing? No, it's going to be the title. I would love to talk about I miss the old Brandon. I would love to talk about how much I hate TikTok. If any of these you're interested in, let me know. There's a bunch of stuff. Things that not like I would talk about on other channels, like funny stories that the kids do. That's going to go on the Shorts channel as like a vlog or like a car rant. But like these are going to be like more like what's my mindset, or things that you probably didn't realize I did in certain videos, stuff like that. Where I'm going, like news-worthy, how like the family or behind the scenes, day in the life, stuff like that. And I am rambling to stretch this to 30 minutes. I do have a minute and a half, and I wonder if I could just ramble your ear off for a bit. I'm open to anything. I'm looking at the comments on the last post, and a lot of people have a lot of good ideas. And I'm open to literally anything of like, I mean, I don't plan on these getting like viral or getting watched as much as the old content on here was. But I know it will build into something once we get into the new place. If you watched the last episode, we're getting a new place, moving out of here. Someday I'll show you. It is so packed. I have no room to do anything. I can't really have people over to film with. You just can't. I'm telling you, it's crowded. But once we get our new place, we'll have the room. I can have like a podcast area to bring Cam and Angel and Gloria in. We'll have guests, and it'll be fun, and it'll be different than this. But I know I just have to start, and I keep saying that because I'm rambling. I have 20 seconds, and I will do it. But yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments, what you want to hear, what you think of this episode, and then what you want to watch later, and then I'll talk about those things. But I love you, and I hope you have the best day ever, mainly because I said so, but mostly because